All right. So we are back and working on building out a storyboard from our newly updated timeline.
We want to walk through this timeline with Dean first.
Yep. And I want to capture that on video.
All right. Okay, so we did some brainstorming this morning, taking a look at where the flow that we had ended with yesterday. That was very RMO focused, but it was also very similar to our current process right now. Save a little bit of automation probably. So we tried to kind of take a step back and take a look at what our outcomes were, what are some of the, kind of different ideas, but kind of what our like highest voted assumptions were and questions, and realize that it was less about the specific RMO process, but more about the data that's there. And so we wanted to focus a little bit more on that aspect of how can we make the data a little bit more reliable. So even if our matching process is the same, or that it's more informed and it's giving better results. So one of the things that we decided to scope to, and sort of, we tied in some concepts from some of the other solution sketches as well. And we're thinking of just like peer-to-peer endorsements or feedback, consultant feedback on a peer level. And so we mapped out this kind of 6-step, pretty simple flow of where we would get that data from so that we can get some feedback and see if it will actually solve our problem of unreliable data. So starting off with, this could be something that gets triggered on the roll-off date, or say it's a longer project, every 6 months you kind of get a email or something. And that would take you to a project landing page. Alternatively, you could come in just directly into the system and land on a personal landing page. So this would kind of show active projects, people on the project, so you can click into those. And go into like the project landing page would have information about who are the other people on the team. Maybe, list some of them, check marks if you've done, filled out a survey for them before, something like that. Some way to visually track that. What technologies are being used on the project, so that's what the different people on the team could, would be rated on. And then that, would kind of just take us to peer endorsement via survey. And then you'd submit that, and then we have this concept of, a little bit of gamification here, where you could collect points, and you get rewarded in some way to filling out the survey.
Yeah.
Thoughts? So one of the things that we'll do with the screen, with the storyboarding, and talking a little bit about the screen, is maybe identify a little bit more about what would be on, draw out some of these pages that we can understand what information would be on each screen, and then build that into, yeah.
So question on, so this is good, I'm fine with it. The only thing is, I don't know whether there were conversations, but the skills base, so maps pretty much like, it's not worth it, and they have their own path. I'd like to at least see that Clean has something stable for that. Is that something, just a different parallelly path to follow that's not in us in this instance? Because it seems like if we don't have good data, it doesn't matter.
So I think this helps cover that gap a little bit. So if they're not using skills base, we're at least providing this.
So it's more, so it's saying, if I'm Dean, Bob has X, Y, and Z skills, and are in this questionnaire, are we rating them a 1 to 5?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, because I would love that. If that's part of that process, to rate them, not say, hey, they worked in OpenShift and knocked it out and they're 5. I would love to have that, and then you can balance that with what the person says.
I think that's what this peer endorsement via survey would be.
Okay.
And then the other part I could add there is, and this would be outside the scope of this specific timeline, but say that whatever survey results we get, we standardize that in a way that maybe if there are other teams using different kinds of surveys, it could still be like imported in, or it could, you know, it could have if you can get to this end state, our tool can still use it for building matches. But that is more enhancement.
And I think probably that we can encompass enough of the desires from NAPS so that we can get them to start using this.
Right.
Another question. So say you're on a one-person project, which some people are just always on, say satellite gigs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna just self-rate themselves all the time?
I think it'd be a self-rating, and I also think a PM or TSM would do that.
Yeah.
And then the other part is if we, this peer endorsement via survey could potentially, there's a little bit of, there's room for growth there. So another idea, like when we have CSATs, if there's positive feedback coming in from CSAT, if we have a way that that team could also input information, so like, you know, and that can get added into someone's profile. So we can kind of expand and build on this. I think there's good room for not customizing, but growth,
Yeah.
expansion.
Mhm.
That's the word.
Right.
All right.
So we've got, just another question on here, we've got technologies on there. One of the things that was mentioned was there's no way to rate the soft skills currently, right? Do we wanna add that into this prototype?
I think it'd be good. I mean, because the second person is always gonna be seeing the engagement, and I mean, even myself, I think I'm in tune to some conversations I have, but a third person's like, oh, yeah, you totally didn't pick up on this with the engagement. And that, I think, is immensely important.
Yep.
So I have a thought there. It's a yes and thought. So the way that I visualize this is on a project level, you can add technologies, like these are the technologies that we're using on there, and that's what gets fed into this peer endorsement survey, where you can rate a person on those technologies that are that are used on the project. So that just narrows the list down, and then this is where we have like that tech versus soft skill split.
Yeah.
On a personal level.
Yeah, okay.
And, sorry, real quick, Marshall. And then the technologies being pulled from here as opposed to just every technology is, I think that'll help from getting into like a too much to scroll issue.
Agreed.
Cool. So, you know, another aspect is just like, is this person easy to work with? You know, that could be in soft skills.
Yeah.
It could just be someone's, you know, they're extremely good at technical stuff. They are maybe good at data analysis, but they're just complete natives.
I
Right.
think of it like.
I resemble that remark.
Do you wanna work with this person again?
That's
Right.
exactly it.
Yes.
And I think like maybe when we're designing this survey, we sort of have that at the top, where it's just like, all right, a thumbs up, thumbs down on your working experience with this person, and then you get into like details like, okay, how are they with these surveys?
Agreed.
And that's something that I think we will validate. Like, let's just pick one and we'll run with it, and then when we do some user interviews, then we can
Yep.
we'll confirm it. See if that actually.
Awesome.
Right.
All right, so let's try and get. We want to do. Do we want to do a story, or do we want to cut some corners?
What do you mean by a story versus cut corners?
I think she's talking about the way I did that over there, where you have people in there,
Right.
their story versus just
So-
screens.
Yeah, so let me share both of the options with the whole team, and let's kind of gauge where we want to go. So at this point, what the next step in a full sprint should be is we take this and we make it into an actual storyboard.